All right, so being cool here with Jimmy from Gears. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
Dude, it's a pleasure to talk to you for sure. So I just listened to the new track Game. It was fucking amazing, man. We're doing the big premiere on Friday, and
Yes.
I haven't heard a fucking song this good in a long time.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you saying that. I really appreciate you saying that. This is kind of like a new round, we're exploring a couple things with the last few songs that we've been releasing. So it's good to hear, people that I've had a relationship with, through press and stuff like that have a positive reaction. So thank you.
As I'm listening to the track, I watched the lyric video, and then your publicist sent me some details about the song, and it's basically the game is about the music industry. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, when we were working on the song and Trip was coming up with subject matter, you know, it it was kind of a weird like amalgamation of whatever, because it was at the same time as he was singing the words and we're tracking the vocals. Like, to me, my reaction was, it's like, man, like we've really kind of done a few things together and had a cool little journey here, but at the same time we're setting more goals for the future. So it's more about, to me, about like the journey that we've had so far, but it's also, we're not going anywhere. I know there's a lot of question with a lot of bands, with everything with the past year and the pandemic and stuff. It's more of a kind of a stance that we're going to keep making music, and we are definitely going to eventually get to play some for you guys.
Well, I mean, it's definitely cool. I mean, for someone to stand their ground and with so many musicians having questionable about their future, for you guys to know that this pause has been a pause for us. We're going to keep on going. We're going to do what we can to continue to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and I mean, not to sound so cliche, but you and I have had extended conversations about that. Life is going to be what you make of it. It's been a hard thing to do, but we always try to stay positive. Especially me personally, I have a tendency to kind of get negative and down in the dumps and stuff. But I just try to think about good use of our time. We've been able to be really creative during this time. We've been able to release more music more frequently than we've ever done, and get more content out for people. And just, it hasn't, we're not looking at it as a pause. It's just kind of a pivot. It's like, okay, so instead of playing shows for 3 months, we're going to give you two new singles over the next 3 months, and check out these videos. And and hopefully the response is positive, which generally it's been really good. I can't thank everybody enough for the support. And that's another thing about this song that I feel like is very important to say. It's, without anybody listening and giving us positive response, or even sometimes the negative shields you a little bit too, but without that, I mean, it's what's the point? So it's another good part about this song to me.
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, it's one of those songs that just get you going. You can get lost in the lyrics, and it's definitely gives you it's a thinker of a song. You know what I mean? Like, there's different ways to interpret what we talked about. Like I said, you guys are talking about how you're not going anywhere. Me, I interpret it as the music industry and what's going on throughout there. But it's fucking badass track either way.
Thank you. Yeah, I always love songs that can kind of have two meanings to them. Like, on the surface, first pass, you catch a couple words, and then the more you listen to it, it's like, oh, every once in a while you get like that kind of light bulb moment. It's like, oh, that's what they mean there. This song is definitely one of those. It's, I think that when we worked with Corey and put this one together, it was like a really groovy sound. And I mean, before we tracked the vocals and it was just the music, the first time, Corey kind of, put some stuff together and let me hear, like, a rough mix of it. It was just he and I in the studio at that time. And that chorus hits, and just the way it's layered and the musician, the musicianship in it, I was just like, man, like this is gonna be. I thought it was great. You know what I mean? And it's like, when you're in the studio, sometimes you write songs that you're always proud of what you do, but some songs just hit you a certain way, and that was without any lyrics. And then when Trip got there and we started tracking vocals and stuff, and I was like, damn, like this is going to be a good one. I think, so it's definitely one of my favorite that came out of those sessions. We did So What, and then we did which we released and we talked about last time, and then this one, which is very cool, but it's like I can't pick a favorite, you know what I mean? It's usually you go into a session, and if you're doing 5 songs, 10 songs, whatever it is, you got like 1 or 2 favorites. I can't do it. I think the music is kind of unique for us. It's kind of in a little bit more of a groovy direction. It's still kind of got that Gears like thickness, heaviness to it, but I really think that it was a good evolution for us and the next step into songwriting.
I mean, this past year has been hard on everyone, but the music industry got hit definitely one of the hardest out there. But the fans are truly the winners that I could see in this matter, is with the new style of only putting out singles every few months, few weeks, whatever that you choose. You're always going to be a winner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you're only got one song and there's nothing else to back that up, you really got to go all out as an artist to make sure that song is fucking it.
Yeah, and I mean it's exciting in one way for sure. From the fan point of view, I mean, I feel like artists have to not only step up their game as far as like quality. Okay, it's not like you're not putting out a record that where there's going to be 3 or 4 singles on it, and then there's 6 songs that are just record songs. Like. It used to be, you did 3 or 4 songs for the fans, and then the rest of the record was for you. That's kind of how we always approached recording in the past. Now, not only are you getting singles more frequently, but the promotion behind it, the visuals that are coming out with it. We do merch designs, like, so there's like, even like if you want more gear swag, like you can get it. And a lot of other bands are doing that too. So I think that's really cool, because it's just, you're getting the whole single is kind of being packaged like a record, and it's exciting.
Right.
And I know that I'm getting all of this content, but I don't have to wait a year or 18 months or 2 years to get more new content. You know what I mean? So that's definitely cool.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, there's times where you get an album and you're not going to hear from that band for another 2 or 3 years, and you're just like, God damn, I wish I had something to fill my void all this time here.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think sometimes, as I was a record store kid, man. Like Tuesdays when new music came out, I was at the record store trying to get CDs, tapes, whatever, and a lot of times, first couple listens, of course, you already heard at least 1 radio single, sometimes 2. So you're already familiar with those songs, and your ear kind of gravitates to those because of the familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
But now I feel like, when a band puts out 1 song, like you're focused on that 1 song for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
And then they put out another song, and you're focused on that song for 6 to 8 weeks. So I think it's a good way for maybe not any songs to slip through the cracks like they would, you know what I mean? Like, for example, just off the top of my head, Stone Temple Pilots' Purple. Okay, like everybody knew that song from The Crow, Big Empty, they knew that single and everything like that. But I mean, that song, and they knew Vaseline, I think, had been released before the record came out. But then when the record came out, it was like, wow, bang, 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 bang. But there's always that 1 song, that kind of slips through the cracks. And then you go back to it and listen, 6 months, a year, 2 years later, and you listen to, the record, and it's like, how did I miss that song? Like, this one was amazing,
You see, one thing I appreciate is, like, I'm a true fan of music. I love when a song comes out. There's so many aspects that I go through, but when I'm only getting a single from a band, I get so much more besides that great song. I get to see interviews with them having in-depth conversations about what the song and the recording process. And then, like you said, specialized merch just for that track. I mean, you're getting so much more now with one track than you are with an entire album as a fan.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And I like it as well because it gives me more of an opportunity to do this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, what do we talk for 45 minutes before you even hit the record button? Like that's, I love that personal connection that, you develop over the years with people. So it like, it gives me more of an opportunity to talk about more stuff.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and with this too, I mean, as a fan, I think they feel like they know more about you as an artist. You know what I mean? I mean, when they get little bits get given to them every couple of weeks, it's something to look forward to. And they're like, oh my God, when they see you live, I knew exactly what that song meant. I mean, it meant so much.
Yeah.
We connected in that way. And then to hear you say this is what this was about was so cool during all this time. I mean, right now, everyone's all fucked up, man. I mean, everyone's got shit going on. Everyone's locked in the house. The only true escape is through music. And you giving this to the people is fucking amazing for you guys to keep on going and giving us these little treats every couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's going to be the, not that I'm any kind of authority on the music industry, but I think that's definitely going to be a cool model. I think it's great for the fans. I think it could be very beneficial to the bands if they can embrace it. There's going to be some bands that have been around for a long time that, might not like the fact that it's like, man, we dropped a full length record and, we already have to do another one to get streaming numbers, whatever it may be. But I mean, I think, just like we were talking about earlier, anything in life, it's how you embrace it and how you, use it. And, I personally don't mind it at all. Like I said, it gives us more of an opportunity it gives us more opportunities to connect. And that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's why we started doing this, because we love music. Because I mean, it definitely wasn't for the fame and fortune.
You see, the one thing that I enjoy about this new way the industry is working is that when the time comes when you are going to put out an album or something like that, you can take all these singles, and that's basically going to be a greatest hits album right off the bat because every track was a banger. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true. I mean, I didn't think about it that way. You know what I mean? It's like, everybody's kind of doing something different, and we're not really 100% sure how we're going to go about whether there's going to be like a repackaging of stuff we've already released and maybe, repackage it as an EP or a full length and, throw some songs that weren't released as singles into there. I think that may be cool for people. I don't know, man. I mean, let me ask you a question. Like, what would you think? Okay. So say, you've pretty much covered everything that we've released since, 2015. So it's like, if we took, the last, say, 6 or 8 singles and repackaged them as an EP and put 2 bonus tracks on there, would that be something that like you would buy?
Oh, 100% for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I'm like to have something in my hand, you know what I'm saying? But I also would like to be able to put in disc and know that I don't got to fucking jump around to different tracks. If I knew I had 10 solid songs on there where I can go for a drive and just be happy, I'd be fucking ecstatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When touring starts back up, people are going to want shit in their hands. You know what I mean? They're going to want to take something home from the show, and for not being able to get music for such a long time as far as something tangible, something they're taking with them, I think fans will definitely be all over that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the music fan in me, and I realize that, that music's consumed differently now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I go to, and I listen to Spotify, I listen to Apple Music and all that stuff, but when you go to an artist profile, and you hit play, you know, it automatically kind of goes into like a shuffle play thing where you might like it. And I feel like there is something to be said for recording a set of songs and then creating a track list and what order they're to be listened to. And it's like, you know, there's some songs that, you know, you grew up listening to and you hear, I mean, you might just hear it on the radio. And then when the song stops, you're in your head, you're playing the notes of the next song. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like, and even when I check out new artists, I've been really digging the band Varsity lately, man. I think they are very cool. Um, and you know, they have a couple EPs out, and I always try to make sure that when I listen to them, I go to the EP, I make sure that shuffle's not on because I want to hear it in the order that they want to present to you know, to the consumer, you know. And I just always have to make sure that's happening because I think there is like certain things that get lost. You know, I love the idea of on demand, you know, music. I mean, you know, it's not awesome to pay the bills, but it's very cool that fans can literally have access to majority of pieces of music that have been released over the last, you know, what, 60 years or whatever. And I think that's very cool. But at the same time, it's like I feel like there's a little bit of something missing there, you know, from like just putting a CD in and hitting play and just letting it rock, you know?
Hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I can tell Alexa right here to play any song almost ever recorded. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But I truly miss the days. I mean, I had a media play. I don't know what you had when you were growing up. It was the big outlet here was a media play.
Uh-huh.
Walking in there and just I discovered so much more music by saying, look, by looking at a cover of a CD. You know what I mean? And saying, oh, all right, this is the genre of music I like. Fuck it, let me give this a try. It's only $10. You know what I mean? And then
Oh
going
yeah.
home, discovering how amazing that was, and opening it up and looking at all the notes, you know, dedicated to and the lyrics and all that shit. But now it's all just a push of a button away. So,
Yeah, right, right. Open, you know, unlock your phone and launch the app and you're in business. No, man, I was the same way. I'm from the Northeast too. So, you know, it was wall to wall sound and video and Tower Records and, you know, those kind of places. Sam Goody, I think, you know, and then like later FYE or whatever. But yeah, man, I was a record store guy too. I really, I mean, even like later on, you know, in my, you know, late teens, early 20s, like Target, you know, when they started, like Target had the best because they always had like eight, nine, $10 CDs where everywhere else it was 14 bucks.
right.
And I mean, I would go through there, you know, walk through with, you know, I mean, I bought CDs weekly, you
Mm.
know, every week. And so many times I would walk by you know, I discovered so many, you know, bands that I listen that are staples in my life today just by a cool CD cover. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of someone like right off the bat, you know, or like one of those promos where they would do like, you know, breakout bands, you know, it was like a $9 CD instead of a $10 CD or a $12 CD, you know. So it's like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know as the, you know, we've really shifted to the, you know, the Amazon generation, the on-demand generation. You know, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, there's no record stores around. So that's not how people are, you know, getting their music. And I can't say because I'm not in that developmental part of my life, but I can't imagine. I mean, like, I can't imagine not going to the record store when I was a kid, you know, to find these bands. I can't imagine not having MTV to find out like the buzz bin, you know what I mean? Like those new bands that were going to come out. I mean, that's how like I discovered so much stuff. I mean, they even like MTV even had like an MTV Buzz Bin CD that they sold at like Best Buy or somewhere for like, you know, $9, and it had, you know, volume one, volume two, all the new bands, you know, were coming out on that. And that's like, you know, I'm sure everything changes and people are still getting their music somehow. But I mean, I look back on those times with very like, you know, very a lot of nostalgia. you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say it's totally just a nostalgic feeling of remembering. You know, it brings you back to your youth, of you know, memories of going to the store, walking around the aisles, holding things in your hand. And I think that's one of the big appeals of it. But as a kid these days, you tell them that, and you're like, you mean you had to drive? You had to go and pay
Yeah.
for that stuff with money?
Like, you had to like leave your house.
Just click,
Weird.
watch, Dad. I click a button and there it's done.
There it is.
You don't get the lyrics. You don't get this. Oh, really? Watch this. Here's another button click. There's the lyrics. There's everything you need to know right in front of you.
That's so
That's
true.
wrong.
So true. So true.
So as we go forward, I mean, you know, adapting to this new style of the industry, and what's that like is for a musician as you? I mean, you were set in your ways, you knew how things worked, and now the past year, they're like everything's changed. From the way you record to the way you put out music to one day when touring starts back up, the touring's going to be all different.
Dude, you know, I'm just trying to like, I know we're just trying to take it as it comes. You know, we're as far as like, you know, the releasing stuff, you know, we kind of cover that, and that's, you know, kind of our plan for the near to intermediate future. As far as touring goes, you know, I mean, we're itching, man. We want to play just as much as anyone else. It has to make sense on a few levels. You know, it's got to make sense financially. It's got to make sense, you know, for the markets that we're playing to be at a decent capacity so that the buyers can, you know, and the venues can make their money so that they can pay us our money, you know. And it's like, I don't, you know exactly, you know, where it's going to end up, but I do know that people need music. They need live music. I really do feel that way. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are, you know, pent up from, you know, being in the house and not having that release of going to see, you know, a band. And I mean, it, it's gotta, there's has to be some kind of solution, you know, the powers that be, you know, the you know, the movers and shakers, so to speak. I'm sure they'll figure out, you know, safe and proper ways to move forward. I mean, there's tours being announced left and right, so that's got me really excited. We're confirmed. We're gonna play the Central Florida Metal Fest this year, which is something that we've been asked to do before, and we've really wanted to do over, you know, the past few years that they've done it, and it just never worked out. We always had other stuff going on. Either we were, you know, on the other side of the country with, you know, on another run, or just never could make it work. So in that sense, you know, Orlando is kind of like a second home to us, you know, from being from Miami. We've played a ton of shows there since the band's existed, and, you know, really looking forward to that. And hopefully in the fall we'll get the opportunity to find something that makes sense for us and we can get back out there and do it. It's, you know, I just kind of gave up on trying to like pinpoint when it's going to happen and what it's going to happen. And, you know, all that does is it just stresses me out, man, because I just want to get out there so much and I want to come see everybody. And, you know, we want to play show, you know, a band like us, you know, we're not a huge band, you know what I mean? We're not even a big band. It's, you know, our friends are the people that we see on the road. You
Right.
know, you know, it was always an excuse, you know, like, you know, being on tour, you know, I get to go back home, you know, a couple times a year. And I mean, like, you know, if I had a day off, you know, the whole band and crew, we'd go to my grandparents' house, and, you know, my grandma would, you know, hang out with us, and my aunt would make fried chicken, or if it was the summertime, maybe get some crabs and sit out and eat crabs and drink beer. And, you know, it's like, that's a big part of our life. You know, it's not just a gig, you know, like that's, you know, our extended family, our friends. So we haven't been able to see them either. So it's been rough on several levels, but, you know, ultimately I know it will come back. I know it will come back. I know it will come back.
You know, one thing I think about is how it's going to affect the mental state of musicians. I mean, you guys were used to playing X amount of shows per year, being Alexa, stop. Uh, playing X amount of shows per year, and you're on the road for a long period of time. You get to be home for a little bit. For the past year, being home is all you knew. I mean, some people are going to be like, I missed so much. You know what I mean? I mean, being around their family for this long. I just wonder if long tours are still going to be a thing, or it might be broken up a little bit more so they can get back home because they're going to be missing that shit.
Yeah, man, I think that's going to depend on each band. I definitely think there's going to be a more personalized and individualized approach to touring. I think certain bands are just going to be like, you know what? Uh, I've enjoyed being home. I don't want to go out on these marathon tours. I want to go do 20 dates in 26 days and then I want to be home. You know what I mean? And then I think, other bands, are just that are road dogs. They're just going to want to go out, and, tour till the wheels fall off, so to speak. And, for me, it's, I actually like kind of enjoyed, being home. It's like once something's kind of taken out of your control, and it's like, okay, we're not playing shows. They're just not going to let us. It's not going to happen. Once that happens and you can kind of like resolve yourself to like, okay, here's my situation, then you can like, start to approach it with some kind of positivity, and it's like, I've gotten to, have a ton of time home, and I've got to, be very, because with the kids, not, doing the online school and stuff, our 17-year-old, we get to hang out, all the time. He went back to school 2 weeks ago and I was like all bummed. I was like, man, I don't want him to go back. It's like, I like hanging out with him. And like, of course he's going to go back like right when the weather breaks, it's like, so, and I saw this, we were talking previously, before we started this about dogs and everything. And, there's like this picture and like one side, it's like animated picture and one side of it is the thought bubble from it's a guy and his dog, and the thought bubble said from the guy says, oh my god, like this year has been the worst, everything, I can't go do anything, I can't work, I can't do this. And then in the next picture, it's the very same picture, and there's a thought bubble from the dog that says, this has been the best year ever because I've had my dad home with me the whole time. It's like, it's all about perspective, man. It really is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. The one thing is going to be different as far as touring goes is you're really not going to get into a swing of things for at least a year. I mean, for what goes on this year, you're going to have to capitalize on what works best for you as a band. I mean, with certain states only being open and doing figuring a routing tour of who you're allowed to play and what size venue and capacity issues and shit like that, it's going to be fucking scary, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's nothing we can control.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it, and I'm, it sucks in that sense. I feel like it sucks for the fans because us bands, it's a business. So it's like, it's not vacation when we go on the road.
Right.
Like we have bottom lines that we have to cover. We have people we have to pay. We have transportation we have to rent. There's so many different things. So in that sense of the word, like I was saying, a more individualized, personalized approach to touring it's got to make sense. As much as I would love to just like go and do like a free show tour all over, anybody who wants to come, it just unfortunately doesn't work that way. Because nobody's giving us transportation to ride in for free. You know what I mean? Like I don't know too many front of house engineers that are going to be like, yeah, I'll come work for free. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's so much, we're definitely not getting free t-shirts to sell. So in that way, yeah, it does kind of suck. And I think, initially there's going to be some markets that are like going to kind of get like the shit end of the stick, as far as bands are just going to be like, dude, I'm not fucking with that city because of this, that, you know what I mean? So we'll just skip it. But, hopefully as, everything hopefully returns to a safer and, I hate using normal, but, normal pre-COVID, whatever, as we move forward, you know, I hope that that would be like, okay, well, we didn't get to do this city because of restrictions before. That's the first place we're going this time. You know what I mean? So hopefully it'll all pan out and cover itself in from all directions.
You see, one thing you pointed on that is it's a business. I mean, fans don't realize it's all involved in a tour and what goes through all the cost and the mindset you got to be in. You're not going to say Niagara Falls and going there to go look around, and you know what I mean. You're there to play. You, as far as touring goes, it's you're driving, you're on a bus, you wake up. Hopefully, the venue has a shower. You figure out if there's catering or if there's going to be a buyout that day.
Yep.
Maybe get a little sleep. If you got to do interviews, pump that shit in. Sound check, play, meet and greet, and then you're fucking off to the next place so you can hopefully get a couple hours of sleep on the bus. And you still got to maintain being a person all in between that of touching back with home, maybe writing a song while you're on the bus. I mean, it's fucking a lot of work that goes involved in that shit.
Oh man, you know, it's like you know, if you really go through and this is like any band. I mean, whatever level you're on, you know what I mean, from you know, the smallest clubs to the biggest stadiums, you know, everybody's got kind of their shit that they got to do. And being on the road, you know, don't get me wrong, it does not, it's not like, oh, I hate being on the road, it sucks and everything, but like, you know, you're going through, you know, you get maybe, you know, if we're supporting, we might get a half hour on stage, 40 minutes, you know, and it's like all the shit you have to do to get to that 40 minutes
Right.
is like people don't think about it, man. And you know, all that shit that you got to deal with is what makes that 40 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, so fucking special. You know, that's what you know, and it's like it's not easy, you know, it's not. And I don't care what level you're on, because I think that problems are all relative, situations are relative, you know. It's like what somebody might not consider a big deal, you know, might be a catastrophe to someone else. And who am I to judge what is, you know, what, you know, the level of, you know, issue or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I mean, and you're right, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But still nothing in this world like doing it, you know, like just being, especially, you know, our band, we're like, you know, we're so tight, you know, they're my brothers. And, you know, a lot of people say that, but I mean, you know, our bass player grew, like, you know, he has babysat my kids, my dogs, he's watched my house while my wife and I try to get 2 days away, you know, like, yeah. And, you know, Tripp's my brother, dude, you know, like it's, we're so tight like that, you know, it's really special when you get to do it on any kind of level with those kind of people. You know, it's one thing to, you know, I've been a, you know, for hire guy, I've been, you know, in bands that, you know, didn't necessarily have that close of a connection. um but and it, every situation is a little bit different, but I mean, Gears is special to me, you know. It's, there's always, it kind of makes things, you know, all the bullshit that you deal with outside of it just to get to that point to where, you know, you can go play a show for a couple people, you know, it's like, it makes it worth it.
Well, I mean, I can see it. You know, I mean, from watching the YouTube videos of you guys playing live, I mean, you can hear it in your music that you guys definitely have a bond with each other. I mean, there's certain bands out there that are performing because it's a paycheck, man. They may fucking hate each other's guts, but they're
Yeah.
together for that time for the sound check and for playing, and the rest of the time, it's fuck you guys.
Yeah, I mean, dude, personalities and chemistry is such a big thing about it. You know, it's, you know, I've been in situations where, you know, it wasn't always so awesome, but it was like, you know, you're getting paid to do a job and you approach it that way, you know, and that's how we still approach it that way in Gears. It's just kind of like, you know, it makes it a lot more fun and easier to swallow, like being away from your you know, your chick and kids and dogs and stuff. It just, you know, when you're doing it with people that you care about and that, you know, care about you, people that I know, like, I know Tripp's got my back and he knows that I got his, you know. And even if I'm in the wrong, you know, he's still got my back. Now when we get back into private settings, like, he might give me a what the fucking, but you know, it's like, you know, we got each other's backs, you know, and that's cool.
definitely something you got to have is when you're playing with somebody, you're being with somebody for basically 22, 23 hours out of a 24-hour day besides that shit.
Dude, you're living with them. You're
Yeah.
living with them, man. And it really is like you're literally living with them. And like I said, like everybody knows we're not a huge band. It's like we have to do everything on the cost. Sometimes, if we're, sometimes we might be, traveling and only have it in the budget for like one hotel room. Like we all cram in that hotel room, and like people, are sleeping on the floor and, sharing beds and, just whatever we got to do to make the tour happen to make it make sense so that we can keep doing it,
Oh yeah, I mean that's one thing I don't think people realize is the close quarters that you have when you're
Oh,
on
yeah.
a tour. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if some of these people that are listening have ever been on a tour bus or seen what it's like, but those fucking stacked up beds are you're on each other all fucking day, man.
Dude, and I mean, you're doing vans sometimes. I mean, everything is 100% like related on budget.
Right.
It's like, if you might be going out to, and you might be getting the opportunity to go support a larger band so you can, build on your fan base by getting in front of theirs. But I mean, you're not getting paid a whole lot, or maybe not getting paid at all. And, then you're in a van and you're sleeping in the van and you're getting a hotel room and you're, maybe one hotel room for, 7, 8 people. And then you're, showering at truck stops, maybe, it's like, dude, it's, there's definitely some sacrifices made by musicians, and nobody's forcing us to do it. We all make that choice to do it, and that's a powerful fucking thing to make people live like heathens like that, man.
See, one thing I gotta say, it's gotta be hard to be on all the time. And what I mean by saying on is when you're walking through the crowd and shit, you gotta fucking throw on that smile. You know what I mean? I go to Walmart and the cashier's a cunt. I just think that cashier's a cunt. I'm not like fuck Walmart, but
Yeah.
if Jimmy walks by and he's a dick, I'm like fuck Gears from now on. You know?
Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Fuck them. No, I mean, dude, I say that all the time. Like where I live now, I live in Lexington, Kentucky. My wife is from the area here, so and it's quiet and I kind of keep to myself, which anybody who knows me personally knows that, growing up, I was a little bit of a wild one,
Right.
and they're like, really? Like Lexington, Kentucky? And I'm like, dude, I love it. Like, there's no distraction. Like I got my work, I got my dogs, I got, my chick, I got the kids and it's like, and they're like, well, I could get that. I'm like, dude, when you're like on the road, like you really got to be on. And so many times I've, heard or read, things about, oh, that guy was a fucking asshole to me outside of the venue, but you don't know, like maybe he just had a fight with his wife 5 minutes before on the phone. Like, like the people that we leave behind get kind of shafted. Like they have a lot of responsibility. Like my chick, she works a job that she loves, but she like has to take care of everything. Like all of a sudden, like even something, a simple task like taking out the garbage, all of a sudden she has to do that now, which is just one more thing that she has to do on top of everything else that she's already doing. So it's like, it kind of, it can get frustrating and you don't know what kind of conversation, they're walking away from. And, that's like you got like a little snapshot of their day. It's like maybe they, who knows, anything could be happening. They could be go through like some personal loss, maybe like, one of their family members is sick, or, it could just be something as simple as, dude, I didn't fucking sleep last night and I'm miserable. You know what I mean? It could be something simple like that, so I always say, I never, judge anybody by one moment in time. And I encourage others to do the same. I mean, there's been times like, like you get on the road and maybe you have a little too much to drink one night, and you do something. I'm like, dude, I'm never gonna eat anybody's lunch for like having too much to drink, or going off, now there's a difference when it becomes a habitual thing, but it's inevitable that, once every tour, twice every tour, like somebody in the band's going to get drunk and, be in the wrong state of mind. And, it's like, dude, like the next day, you're a man, you go apologize, and as, band members and brothers, you accept the apology, and let's fucking move on. Let's not dwell on it. It doesn't make anyone a bad person to be human. But like we need to realize that as fans and as people.
What it is, I just think that today's day and age with the internet and fucking being able to say the worst possible things about people that you love, you grew up listening to these bands, it's your favorite band, but guess what? Today, click, 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 fuck him. I don't like the song. I don't like your face. I don't like fucking whatever you did wrong that day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just fucks up everything, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I'm not a big fan of. I don't know. I mean, my opinion on social media has been well documented through the years. I mean, I think I've been a part of writing several songs about it. I don't know. I think it could be a great in certain ways that the connectivity, the being able to do this, like I even FaceTime with my grandparents, my grandpa's on Facebook Messenger and I'll hit him up and be like, hey, and like that stuff about it is cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's funny. Just the sense of recklessness that people run away with on the internet. It's like, back in the day, there's the old saying, like, don't say something about someone behind their back that you wouldn't say to their face. Well, I mean, this is like to a whole new level because I've had people say shit to me online that I know for a fact if I was standing in front of them, they wouldn't be saying that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's, but again, I'm whatever makes you happy, man. If that's what you got to do, you can just go literally on the comment section of any rock press website, music press website, and I mean the shit that they say.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm like, damn. It's funny. It's become a joke within our band and probably within several other other people's bands and stuff, but between my friends and the band, I'm like, dude, we screenshot the comments. It's like, yo, check this one out, dude. Like, it's like, because sometimes they're really funny, if you can just not take yourself so serious and just realize that doesn't matter. Like you could literally come up with the cure to cancer and somebody's going to ridicule you online about it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of like, I love release day. Love it. I look forward to a lively comment section on your premiere of our video. It'll be awesome.
See, that's the one thing I like on that aspect though, is they're talking about you one way or another, whether it's praise or it's slander, at least they're focused on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, oh man, dude, there was this one comment when we put out. Do you remember when we put out Tango Yankee? It's a song we did with LJ from Sevendust.
Yeah.
And when we put that song out, there was this one guy, and I've mentioned this guy is like going to be famous one day just based on how many times I've mentioned him in interviews, because it was by far the best comment, like trashing our band ever. And it was like that song was inspired, like Tripp at the time, his oldest son was in the Marine Corps and he wanted to do a song like that. And my grandfather was a retired police officer, and my cousin was in the 82nd Airborne at the time. So like it seemed like a really cool tribute to them in our family to do a song that said thank you to the troops, first responders, that kind of thing. And anyway, so that song came out and the video premiere, I forget where it premiered. And in one of the comment sections, like this guy's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna watch this song while I'm folding my American flag and shining my coins that I just got off, my America coins that I just got off the Time Life commercial or something like that, dude. And it was the funniest thing ever, man. I will find this comment. I will find it and I will send it to you because I literally screenshot it. I think I shared it on my social media. And I'm like, dude, this is the best comment ever. And you know, he was just like, you know, totally, you know, I can't I could never understand. I couldn't ever imagine anyone actually ridiculing a band for writing a song that, you know, says thank you to our troops, you know,
Right.
and the first responders, you know, being from the East Coast, you know this because you're from New York, like September 11th was a very, you know, it's a little bit more personal for us that lived, you know, within a hop, skip, and a jump. You know what I mean? It's a little bit, you know, it affected our communities a little bit different, not to discount anybody all over the world that it affected. But when it was in your backyard, it was crazy. Um, and it's just like, you know, just here to like someone to have the gall to just blast it on the internet, you know, like amazing, amazing.
Now going back to the new single, we talked about all kinds of tie-ins and things like that. You guys, what's the push for this one? You guys got merch lined up or anything like that?
Um, we don't have any merch designs for this one. So we've got you know, the lyric video coming out, the single coming out. We're going to try and do the next release. We want to close that little gap where this release is going to be about 8 weeks from our previous from So What. We're going to try and close the gap and kind of concentrate on the next two releases. We've got a lot of cool stuff in the works for those. It's, you know, we're doing a video that we've never ever done before, never tried to do before, and it's taken a really long time, but it's going to be very cool. Dexter, no, sorry. Hopefully you can edit that out. But no, so this release where we didn't do the merch line like we do with So What. But the next couple, there's going to be some cool stuff coming along with those. Man, it's just so much. Like I said, you know, and as a, you know, we don't have a ton of people. You know, our team isn't too huge. You know, a lot of the stuff that we do, you know, has to come from, you know, the band actually doing stuff. You know, we have certain people that do certain things, you know, and work very closely with the band. But as far as putting together a huge package for this release, it just in order to focus on a couple really cool things that we have coming up, you know, that we were kind of had to make a you know, pick and choose what we're going to do with this one.
Awesome, man. I'm definitely excited for everything that goes through. I mean, I feel like I've got the golden ticket, like being able to hear this track before anybody else did. I can't wait to share it with everyone to get an opportunity to see the progress that you guys are making as a band, and I can't wait to see what's next from here on out.
Same here, man. I can't wait to see the response. You know, I was very, you know, like I said before, you know, these songs are a little bit different. You know, I think you can still tell that it's Gears, but there's definitely been a little bit of a few new elements kind of brought into the actual songwriting and production. So when we released So What, man, I was kind of on the edge of my seat, you know, waiting to kind of hear. And I didn't generally, like, I'll kind of go to some friends and stuff and let them hear, like, you know, little tidbits and like kind of try to get some feedback and stuff. But we didn't do that with these songs. You know, there was like maybe 2 or 3 people outside of, you know, our team that, you know, actually heard those songs. And I told them when I sent it, I'm like, I don't want to hear anything about it.
Right.
Because if you hate it, I don't want to be like Trip. Maybe we should rethink about releasing songs, you know. But So What was received so well. I mean, our numbers jumped. It was doing really well in certain radio markets. You know, ton of, you know, for us, you know, a lot of positive response. And it was like, man, I was really kind of taken back by it, you know, because that song, you know, especially Trip, you know, the lyrical content of So What kind of really attacks some very personal shit for him,
Right.
you know, and it for, you know, I don't, it's, you know, that was, you know, he put some people on blast. So he got some, you know, he got some shit for it. And so there was so many levels that release made me nervous. But now that I've seen such a positive response from that, I mean, I feel like it just gets better and better, like from, everything that we have ready to release or is almost ready to release. I really think it's going to be a cool little crescendo, hopefully. If you like So What, you're going to love this. If you love this, you're going to love the next release. If you love the next release, you're really going to love the next one. So it was like we were really kind of meticulous in what order we wanted to release these songs.
So release week for you, you got to be like a kid waiting on Christmas Day coming up there,
I always am, man. I always am. It's funny because, back when, only release stuff, not as frequently as now, you're usually releasing an EP or something. I never wanted to like be anywhere near a computer or anything. I remember one year we took our youngest to Graceland. I remember one year we went to Universal. I was just like, release day, I'm busy. You know what I mean? Because I'm not opening up any kind of social media or anything because I'm not letting them ruin my day. But now that it's like so frequent, and like I said, we get to give such like insight into these songs to anybody who cares, or wants to know. It's like, these interviews, it's like I get, I like the fact that you do an interview with the Premier because it gives me a chance to like really like delve into the song and, what it came from and, how we were feeling and how, we hope the reaction is. And, I think I definitely think that's a cool thing with the, more accelerated release schedules for bands.
See, that's one thing I like to do is I actually want to talk to the artists and know more about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, with the Premier on the site, you're going to get the bullshit cookie cutter questions about what does this mean to you and this and that that's typed out in there, but it ain't going to be the answer I want to hear, man. I mean, I want to shoot the shit. I want to know more about everything, the process, and the feeling, fucking whatever. And then whatever comes to my fucking head that day, they're gonna feel like chatting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. And same for me. It gives me, I know Rock Press, you guys have to kind of stay on top of shit too, and there's so much stuff coming out. So, it's like, you're a busy guy too. So like maybe if I called on a Tuesday just to chat, you might not, oh man, Jimmy, I got like all this stuff to do, so it's like I get an appointment to like hang out with a friend,
It's crazy this fucking day and age. You're exactly right. You know what I mean? I'll get, hey, can you do this? Sorry, man, I got this fucking 2-hour gap booked out for need to get done,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So people that are watching this, they want to follow up, they want to hear the song, they want to listen to the other music, see what's next for you guys. Where do they go? What do they do?
Gearsofficial.com, probably the best place. That'll give you links to all the socials, YouTube, merch, whatever tickles your fancy, so to speak. We're on Facebook, of course, and Instagram. Basically if you put Gears Band Official, you'll find us on the platforms. That's most of it.
Perfect. Well, man, I appreciate you taking out the time to speak with me. I love our conversations. I'm glad we get to pencil this time in to speak to each other. And
man.
What's next from you guys?
It's always a pleasure, dude. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for helping us spread the word. Like I said, we really do appreciate, great writers like you guys and press that, take the time to give us little guys a shot.
Awesome, man. Well, like I said, I can't wait to see what's coming next for me. I know big things.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself.
See ya.